ladies and gentlemen, to WWE TLC 2016 review. And pretty much, ladies and gentlemen, the show is actually in itself overall a pretty decent show, well worth 3 hours of your time. But I'm still scratching my head to the logical reasoning at the end of the World Championship match. Why shouldn't it have been just Dean Ambrose and AJ Styles one-on-one competing for the world title in a freaking ladder TLC match? Why was James Ellsworth, one, even involved in this match? He was supposedly claimed as being severely injured. Well, apparently he ain't so injured after all, and apparently they ain't really selling the injury all that much, because he was freaking there near the end of the match. He helped screw Dean Ambrose out of the World Championship, helping AJ Styles win the belt, and yet he was the one who put him on a stretcher going to an ambulance on SmackDown. Somebody please explain to me the logical reasoning behind this, because to me, it makes absolutely no fucking sense. I mean, you got James Ellsworth on the bottom where the ladder is. In the ring, Dean Ambrose looks like he's going to win. I'm completely shocked by this, actually. I'm going, oh my god, we're going to see Dean Ambrose win the title the second time? And AJ's only carried the belt since September? Wow, so he only gets a 3-month reign. That kind of sucks. Then out of nowhere, out of the clear blue, James Ellsworth just shoves Dean Ambrose off the ladder, putting him through tables. And AJ climbs to the top of the ladder, captures the belt, looks down, sees Ellsworth celebrating and excited. He's even confused on what the fuck's going on here. So, with that load of confusion, anyone can say that this pay-per-view was decent overall as an entertaining show, but that ending just did not make any logical sense. Not to mention, on top of it, you had AJ Styles trying to do a Styles Clash, again, off the steel steps, and Dean Ambrose saved him, and then put him in the Dirty Deeds maneuver and smashed his skull right into the steel steps. Why in God's green earth would AJ Styles be able to get up after a move like that? Now granted, we all know that this is all scripted, it's all fixed and everything else. You gotta make this shit logical. You can make it logical. You don't have to make it stupid and idiotic. But apparently, WWE likes to do that for whatever insane reason. I'll give you guys another prime example of this in a few moments when I get to the other match. But it just blows my mind how illogical and idiotic that shit that just went down just now really is. You're supposed to sell an injury. Okay, you decide to have him come from the injury. Okay, fine. You want to go that far? Say maybe he overcame the injury, got some R&R kind of situation. Great. Okay, fine. So we're going to go ahead and have him involved. Maybe, but you have James Ellsworth. If anything involved in this, Dean Ambrose should have been turning into a heel. James Ellsworth should have been trying to help Dean Ambrose, and he manages to fuck up the match once again, screwing him out of the title by accident, and Dean Ambrose just loses his temper and beats the living hell out of James Ellsworth, making Dean Ambrose become the heel character. But no, they don't go for that. They have James Ellsworth become a heel to the guy who put him on the shelf for 5 days and put him on a stretcher in an ambulance. Yeah, that don't quite make much sense to me, but I hope it makes sense to you, because it sure as hell doesn't to me. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into matches, shall we? first match on the card was the tag team titles match. Now this was a good opener. I was a bit shocked about that this match was actually happening first. I kind of figured the women's no disqualification match might have been first with Nikki Bella and Carmella, or we would have seen Kalisto and Baron Corbin starting things off for us. But that wasn't the case, nor here or there. So, this is what we got. We had the tag team titles match first, getting it out of the way right then and there. And it was actually a pretty decent, matchup and everything. I actually did enjoy it, and so forth. The Wyatt family actually walk away winning the tag titles with Randy Orton. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't a bad match. It was really decent. My only complaint about the match was that it just wasn't long enough. It picked up a little bit at the end. The audience was getting into it, but that's when Randy Orton hit the RKO and got the 1-2-3. So that was a bit awkward for me. But otherwise, it was a very decent match. I actually really enjoyed this match very much. I give it a 3 out of 5 stars just because the match wasn't all that long. It was only 5 minutes and 53 seconds long. Nikki Bella and Carmella, they did a pretty decent job as well. I loved this. I actually enjoyed this match. Not loved it, but I enjoyed it. It was very entertaining and very well put together by both women. I mean, I ain't got too many complaints about this match. This match, I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Just because it was decent. It was a decent amount of time they gave to the women in this one. So I did enjoy that one. Miz and Dolph Ziggler. For the love of God. This is the other match that made no logical reasoning. The match was exciting, yes. There was no outside interference by the wife Maurice, thank God. But overall, the logical reasoning, once again, setting them up to look like fucking idiots, was put into play in this match. Basically, what happens is Miz actually sets up 2 ladders in the middle of the ring. One ladder he climbs up on. Now, stop right there for a moment. I'm going to just say one thing. Why would Miz put up another ladder when there's a ladder right underneath the fucking belt to start with? Honestly, in that situation, it should have been Dolph Ziggler putting up another ladder if he didn't want to climb on the same ladder as The Miz, and then climb up that ladder and start trying to knock Miz off of the ladder altogether. So that's mistake number 1, I believe, that made this match look idiotic and stupid to the bone. Then we get Dolph Ziggler all the way up on the other ladder that Miz put up. Okay, we got something going on here. They're struggling for the title. They're beating the hell out of each other. They're punching each other back and forth and yada yada yada. You would think for one moment one of them would have thought about the idea of putting their foot on the ladder next to them and shoving them the fuck off of it. Does that happen? No. They don't even set up that logical reasoning either. They're both standing there beating the hell out of each other on separate ladders. You would have thought that maybe they would have set up one of them to have the brain in their skull and an awareness to take their foot, push the ladder, and knock the other off the fucking ladder outside the ring, ending the match right then and there. No, they don't go that far. They go ahead and they go even further to stupidity. Dolph Ziggler manages I forgot exactly, move for move, play by play, exactly how it happened, but Dolph Ziggler ended up climbing both ladders, with one leg on one ladder and the other leg on another ladder, climbing up the ladder to grab the title. Now, finally, there was some logical reasoning by one of the opponents, the champion, being a dirty heel, decided, what the fuck? Low blow the guy. 2, 1, 2, maybe even 3 times, possibly, in the balls and knock him off the top, the ladder, and get the title, and he wins. What the fuck kind of logical reasoning was in this match is beyond me. I enjoyed the living hell out of it. Granted, Dolph Ziggler is, a hopeless character you'll never see win the big one. And if he does, he won't keep it very long. He's a one-hit wonder type of guy who is a paper champion. He can't win the big one and stay champ for a long time. He has not one time in his career, I don't think so much, when it was where he was big time, where he's actually looked upon heavily and focused on very much, where he kept the title for a long time. Or at least for the time being, he had, outside of his U.S. Championship run and his first 2 Intercontinental Championship runs, did he not be a paper champion, but his 2 World Title Championships and his last couple of Intercontinental title reigns have been nothing but paper champion reigns. He has been a joke. And that's all he has been since the day he became world champion. I don't really like Dolph Ziggler anymore. WWE has convinced me as a fan to not even bother rooting for him because all I expect is failure. I expect him to lose all the time. Honestly, he should have lost to The Miz at No Mercy. If you're not going to go ahead and keep the belt on the guy all the way up to a WrestleMania or at least a Royal Rumble, what's the point in Dolph Ziggler ever winning the title from The Miz to begin with? There was none. You basically ruined The Miz's title reign going into No Mercy up to the point when he wins it back. There was no point. You ruined both of their reigns. So, honestly, it was pointless to take the title off The Miz if you weren't planning on keeping the title on Dolph Ziggler. Just utter and complete idiotic bullshit, reasoning, logical thinking, and creativity right there. Unless it was leading to something very big, and it wasn't. It was leading to practically nothing. So there you go on that one. Miz does retain the championship. My attitude towards this match, 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was exciting, but the logical reasoning takes the fun out of the whole fucking match and kills it to the bone practically to a 3.5. Still not a bad match, but still logical reasoning did play a big important role to why I made it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Baron Corbin versus Kalisto. Baron Corbin, of course, wins a chairs match. Big fucking whoop-de-doo. Who cares? They used nothing but chairs in this match. Alexa Bliss and Becky Lynch being the women's champion, loses the women's title on SmackDown against Alexa Bliss, where she gets powerbombed from the outside from the apron through a table, and Alexa Bliss walks away as new women's champion. Very shocking, very surprised by this, and was actually impressed with this match. It went 15 minutes long, so it was a decent match overall. I mean, I would even give it a 4 out of 5 stars. I'm going to be that fucking generous. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 stars. Because this match was pretty damn good. There's no doubt about it. It was very enjoyable. I liked it very much from beginning to end. And it looks like Becky Lynch has got some frustration going on, which might be entailing a clue that she wants to, she's going to turn heel. Maybe it's going to express that she is the woman who actually injured Nikki Bella before the Survivor Series match, which would be kind of an interesting twist. So, overall, not bad. But very shocked by Alexa Bliss walking away as the new women's champion on SmackDown. But I have to admit, I gotta give SmackDown credit where SmackDown's due. They are doing an outstanding job with the women's division, despite the fact they don't have talent like Sasha Banks, Charlotte, Bayley, and other women like them on their roster. But they're making good use out of the women that they have. The two storylines they got with the women's division on SmackDown is outstanding. I really think that is smart work, especially Nikki Bella's character development going on here with the mystery attacker. I think this is going to bring out new creative ways, possibly, with Becky Lynch. Natalya would be a very predictable choice. So, of course, going with Becky Lynch probably will be the best thing for SmackDown for people that don't pay attention to the behind-the-scenes information and news that's going on. So I think that's probably what you're going to expect. Becky Lynch to be the surprise person that you find out that Carmella saying that it was Natalya who attacked her when it really wasn't. It was actually Becky Lynch. I think that would be an awesome idea. I think that would be spectacular for Becky Lynch to rival with the top-notch diva, quote-unquote, against the actual top-notch female wrestling competitor who's not a diva but is a women's wrestler. So you're taking a Divas standpoint, the Divas era versus the current modern-day women's wrestling era, and mashing them together in a battle. I think that would be great. I think it would have worked better if they would have kept the women's championship title on Becky Lynch and had her turn as heel as a champion. You don't see that happen too often. About the only guy I can really think of that's actually done something like that is two people in the last 5 years or so has been AJ Styles and CM Punk. AJ Styles won the last 10 years to be more exact, so it'd be 10 years, where AJ Styles did win the title, the TNA World Championship, and then start turning heel in mid-reign with Ric Flair. So that was quite interesting. Plus CM Punk turning heel, feeling he has no respect by the WWE audience or the WWE officials behind the scenes, and turning to Paul Heyman as his new manager. So those two heel turns were pretty damn cool, and I think Becky Lynch, being a women's champion, turning heel, and also turning on Nikki Bella by beating the living shit out of her to take her off the team so she's no longer the leader of the team, since Becky Lynch was the world champion of the females division on SmackDown. She should have been declared the team captain, but she wasn't. So that's understandable, and it makes a lot of sense. It would make a lot of sense. It's called jealousy, which would make all the more reason for Becky Lynch to be a heel. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a guy behind a camera here, giving my opinion and ideas about what I think should be going on in wrestling. But do they ever happen? Of course not. Why would they ever happen for the fans? The fans don't need to have logical reasoning. We can live in a fantasy world and play around with superheroes and fucking Marvel comic characters. Why not do it that way? Make them not humans. Make them Marvel superheroes. You fucking goonbag doucheballs. Get the fuck out of here with this crap. Anyway, as I said, 4 out of 5 stars for Alexa Bliss winning the Women's Championship from Becky Lynch. And getting it back into the main event for AJ Styles facing Dean Ambrose. As I already said, no logical reasoning behind this. James Ellsworth fucking just pretty much screwing over Dean Ambrose for no apparent reason when Dean Ambrose had his back the entire time. And then on top of that, AJ Styles was going to try to injure him again in the middle of a fucking match that he was trying to save Dean Ambrose from. So someone please explain that nonsense to me and explain how that makes any logical sense at all, because to me, it makes no sense period. Anyway, my rating on this one is a 4 out of 5 stars as well. Very entertaining match. Have to also point out this. AJ Styles got his ass kicked in this event against Dean Ambrose. And quite frankly, with the Dirty Deeds on top of the steel steps, definitely inclined to me that should have been a surprising victory. But, of course, with WWE not wanting to make logical reasoning out of things, they screw him out of the title, and that's the end of that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the review and my verbal opinion of this pay-per-view and everything else. Leave your comments and opinions down below. Hit the subscribe button and hit the like button if you liked the video. Thank you.